Right now on Up with KREM, temperatures start picking up today before a heat advisory goes into effect this weekend. I've got your full forecast and we'll let you know just how hot it gets.
66% of them already think he's guilty before they've heard any evidence.
The man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students back in court. Why his defense wants to move the case out of Latah County.
Quite honestly, a lot of travelers will probably go through the process and not even realize there was a problem.
Plus, the Seattle airport is still recovering after last weekend's cyber attack. How operations are moving forward ahead of one of the busiest travel weekends of the year.
Up with KREM begins now.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is 6 a.m. on this Friday morning. Thanks so much for starting off your day with us here on Up with KREM. I'm Channing Curtis. Brandon T. Jones is back with us on this Friday morning as well, joining us from the Weather Center, filling in for meteorologist Thomas Patrick. Brandon, what does the weather have in store for us today?
Channing, well, we're going to start getting warmer here, and we're going to do it pretty soon. And then by this weekend, we will have a heat advisory in place through Monday. So it's going to be a warm and hot summer-like Labor Day weekend, giving you just one more taste of summer before the kids head back to school and you get finished up with those last summer minute vacations. It's going to also be sunny through the weekend, so that's something exciting as well. Just make sure you're being safe out there on the water or wherever you're spending your time outdoors. And then also that warm weather is going to be sticking around, not quite as hot as it is going to be this weekend, but 80s, upper 80s and 90s sticking around at least well through next Friday. So we'll get into all of that for our full forecast.
Well, if you are heading out on your morning commute, we're taking a live look right now at I-90 and Freya. Of course, we all know how congested this section of the roadway can be depending upon the time of day. Right now, though, at 6:02, traffic moving along rather smoothly. You can definitely tell there are a lot more cars out on I-90 right now, but that's just what happens as the day progresses. We'll continue keeping an eye out on the traffic situation all this morning, and we'll let you know if anything changes. Yesterday, Brian Kohberger was back in a Latah County courtroom. He's the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students in an off-campus home during the fall 2022 semester. The legal battle over a possible change of venue dragged into yet another day-long hearing. KREM 2's Shannon Mowdy listened in on that hearing and breaks down what happened in the courtroom.
Well, the defense team has been collecting and analyzing data and news coverage since early 2023 and says it proves a fair and impartial jury cannot be found in Latah County.
Brian Kohberger's defense team first asked for a change of venue in January, but has been compiling data to back up that ask since early 2023. One of the major pieces of evidence they're using, a Latah County community survey.
100 jurors walked into this room during voir dire. 66% of them already think he's guilty before they've heard any evidence.
Dr. Brian Edelman was hired by Ann Taylor and her team to analyze whether a fair trial could be held in Latah County. The defense has claimed bias and strong emotion in the Moscow area have reached mob mentality, pointing to responses in the survey.
And a range of themes from people would basically kill him to they burn the courthouse down or assume that the jury failed.
The prosecution has argued the survey was inadequate or comprehensive enough, as it hasn't been reported how many people declined to take it. The defense pointed to strong media saturation in Latah County, which makes up less than 3% of the state's population. They're looking to move to Ada County, where about a quarter of Idaho's residents live.
If you have a certain number of stories divided by the population, the number of stories a person can see is fewer if the population is larger.
Social psychology expert Amani El Alaili says people may have made strong prejudgments based on hearing snippets of stories.
From the media, people may take bits and pieces, and that starts to create a level of knowledge or human bias.
We might feel like we know about something more than we do, yeah.
She says research shows people will tend to double down on their beliefs even when confronted with contradictory evidence. She testified there's no way to undo this, except finding a new jury pool.
Judge John Judge said he's got some work to do in making what he called the most difficult decision of his career, and he gave no estimate on when he'll issue a ruling on moving the trial. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
At 6:05, let's take a look at your morning rush. More news in less time. The intersection of Sprague and Freya has now reopened after a motorcyclist was killed after colliding with a semi yesterday afternoon. Now, at this time, we still don't know what led up to this crash, but we do know that SPD says the motorcyclist sadly died at the scene. The identity of the rider is expected to be released at a later date. A 22-acre beach in Kootenai County is closed this morning. The Idaho Panhandle National Forest closed the Rose Lake Beach area due to high levels of lead. They discovered lead in the soil, sand, and dust. The National Forest says the area will remain closed as they assess rehabilitation strategies. And this Labor Day weekend and beyond, a popular camping spot in the Coeur d'Alene National Forest will be closed. According to our news partners at the Coeur d'Alene Press, a major habitat restoration is underway along the Little North Fork of the Coeur d'Alene River. That's now prompting the closure of Hutlow Meadows for the foreseeable future. Once the project is finished, camping will be back allowed in the area. And also, according to our news partners at the Coeur d'Alene Press this morning, 2 dogs are recovering after being trapped inside of a garbage-filled house in Coeur d'Alene. Temperatures were in the 90s on several days, and their only food was leftovers and trash that was scattered throughout the home. Officials say that the dogs were rescued after being in those conditions for around a month. Coeur d'Alene Animal Control contacted the dog's owner, who could face animal cruelty charges. And that's a look at your morning rush. This morning, Washington Superintendent of Public Schools Chris Rakedahl is asking districts all over the state to update their cell phone policies. Now, the goal is to reduce distractions for students. It's also meant to support better mental health. Now, this all comes as the Spokane Schools Board just voted for a new policy requiring all schools to be cell phone free during school hours. High schools will be allowed their phones during passing periods, lunch hours, as well as before and after school. But Rakedahl is citing a survey by the National Education Association that was just done this year that shows 79% of teachers find that cell phones are very disruptive, while 90% say they would support a policy restricting students' use of phones during class. Rakedahl says this is a necessary step to focus on learning.
Generally, we're leaning into the idea that districts can do what they want on lunch and before and after school and all that, but we really need them to lean into getting students more focused on each other and their educators in the classroom.
The goal is to have updated policies across the state by the start of the 2025-2026 school year. Well, taking a live look at SEA-TAC Airport on this Friday morning, you can see just how busy the airport is today with all of those people coming in to either take a flight or pick somebody up. Right now, airport officials there are preparing for one of the busiest weekends of the year. Now, this all comes on the heels of a cyber attack that shut down systems at SEA-TAC. More than 500,000 people at the airport are expected to travel through there through the holiday. Our Seattle station shares how airport officials are working hard to accommodate everyone.
Flight 2020.
The end of summer.
Flying in from Phoenix to escape the heat.
Your bags are in Carousel 12.
Going to Carousel 12 to our baggage claim.
Labor Day travel in full swing.
Hopefully our luggage arrived early, since we checked in early. Let's just hope so.
SEA-TAC not exactly starting the busy weekend on the right foot after last weekend's cyber attack.
If you don't have to check bag, that'll make a difference.
Airport spokesperson Perry Cooper says that mostly applies to those flying with international and low volume carriers whose systems are still down. Some are handwriting bag tags and boarding passes. Best advice, print tickets at home or download them to your phone. But Cooper says there's progress.
Quite honestly, a lot of travelers will probably go through the process and not even realize there was a problem.
The big domestic airlines pretty much back to normal, using their own systems. So what about TSA?
Right now the checkpoints are working great.
Cooper says most travelers are through in 30 minutes or less. As for things everyone will notice, the blank departure board for one, enough to make some people cringe. And then there's baggage claim.
Well, it's a little confusing, but we're getting some help.
Most of those information boards are down too.
It's interesting. It's like a new experience with the baggage claim.
Staffers have been moved from the office to help people find their way. There are announcements too.
Your bags are in Carousel 10.
He says 20 minutes guaranteed.
Like waiting for luggage.
Nothing yet.
This busy holiday weekend will take some patience.
No, that's not ours.
Those are people from our flight right there.
6:09 on this Friday morning, heading into Labor Day weekend. Beautiful start to our day. 54 degrees right now, nice and cool. but those temperatures will slowly rise. And for our Labor Day weekend, we're expecting highs in the 90s every single day. So there is a heat advisory in place Saturday through Monday, 92 on Saturday, 95 on Sunday, and 92 on Monday. We'll talk about all of that, and we'll get into your full forecast and just exactly what you can expect with that heat in just a few moments.
It's the unofficial end of summer and one of the busiest travel weekends of the year. Coming up, what you can expect if you're heading to the airport or hitting the roads. But first at 6:10, let's take a look at our wake-up call on this Friday morning. Today, we're talking all things camping. Now, hear me out. Today is National Toasted Marshmallow Day. And of course, when you traditionally think of toasted marshmallows, maybe you think of s'mores, and especially camping. So this morning, that's why we're asking you where your favorite camping spot is. It can be here in the inland Northwest, or it can be somewhere further out. Just text us and let us know where you like to go camping to 509-448-2000, or post to social media and use the hashtag UpWithKREM.